Imagine strapping a wooden box to your face and suddenly standing on a windswept prairie thousands of miles away. Long before modern virtual reality, the stereoscope offered Victorian Americans an immersive, three-dimensional window into the frontier. This technology was more than a novelty. It was an active tool that fueled westward expansion. It created a commercial appetite among Easterners for land they had never seen in person. In 1868, the Treaty of Fort Laramie legally guaranteed the Black Hills to the Lakota Nation. The agreement was clear. The land was set aside for the exclusive use of the Sioux people, and white settlement was strictly forbidden. But by 1873, the United States was struggling through a severe economic panic. With the national economy in collapse, the government needed new sources of wealth, and rumors of gold in the Black Hills offered a potential solution. To avoid an immediate, unpopular war with the powerful Lakota, the government needed to build public momentum to seize the hills. They turned to a heavily publicized media expedition to prove the land's value to the rest of the country. In the summer of 1874, Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer led 1,000 troops into the Black Hills. He wasn't just bringing soldiers. The column included civilian miners, journalists, and a professional photographer named William H. Illingworth. The logistical footprint of this media campaign was massive. Over 100 wagons and a full cavalry band marched into the hills to document and quantify the region's resources for a waiting public. Capturing these images required the wet plate collodion process. Illingworth had to coat a glass plate with chemicals, expose it, and develop it inside a portable darkroom wagon before the emulsion dried in the summer heat. Despite these technical hurdles, Illingworth successfully captured images that documented the region's accessibility. These stereographs provided the East with visual proof of the timber, water, and gold waiting in the hills. The stereograph's dual image format simulated the way human eyes perceive depth. When viewed through a stereoscope, the distant wagon camps merged into a single three-dimensional scene, making the forbidden Black Hills feel tangible and conquerable. These viral images commodified the sacred land, triggering an illegal gold rush that the military eventually stopped trying to prevent. The Lakota, recognizing the consequences of the expedition's trail, named it the Thieves' Road. The gold rush led directly to the Great Sioux War of 1876. By 1877, following Custer's defeat at the Little Bighorn, many Lakota leaders were forced to surrender and settle at military agencies like Camp Robinson. Frontier photographers immediately descended on these agencies. They knew that portraits of recently surrendered Lakota warriors were high-value commodities in the stereograph market. The most sought-after subject for these photographers was the Oglala war chief, Crazy Horse. As the leader who had defeated Custer, his image was the ultimate prize for the commercial market. A stereoscopic catalog published by James H. Hamilton in 1877 actually includes a listing for entry number 104, titled Crazy Horse. Yet no print or negative matching that entry has ever been found in the historical record. In an era where the American West was obsessively documented and monetized in 3D, its most famous indigenous warrior is missing from the physical archive. Alleged photos frequently surface, most notably a tintype held at the Custer Battlefield Museum. While some claim this is an authentic image of Crazy Horse, forensics suggest otherwise. The smooth lighting gradient indicates an urban studio with a skylight. Furthermore, the prominent bone breastplate was typical for 1890s performers, not 1870s warriors. Furthermore, the painted backdrop does not match the equipment used by any known photographer operating near Fort Robinson during the narrow window of 1877. Because every purported photograph fails basic historical forensics, it appears Crazy Horse successfully evaded the camera for his entire life. At the time, many Lakota distrusted cameras as shadow catchers, tools that could lock a person's essence onto a piece of paper. For Crazy Horse, avoiding the lens was a deliberate refusal to participate in the white man's world. He refused to let his image be turned into a commodity by the same system that used photography to survey and seize his homeland. While Crazy Horse remained uncaptured, the Black Hills were fully documented and eventually carved into a massive visual spectacle of the American state. The 19th century photographic campaign successfully quantified the landscape, turning the West into a series of documented resources for the expanding empire. The weaponized camera captured the land, but it never captured the man. Crazy Horse's absence from the photographic record is a final, unbreakable act of resistance.